What's up, guys? We have a great start sit video for you today. This week I'm starting Jared Goff. He gets a great matchup versus the Jaguars, who are dealing with a ton of injuries. Goff could be getting Taylor Decker back on the offensive line this week as well, and I'd like him to bounce back from his 5 interception game last week. This week I also like starting Bo Nix. The Falcons are banged up on defense, and Nix has been playing good ball as of late. The Broncos should be able to throw the ball in the game, and Nix does provide that extra juice in fantasy football with his legs. I also like starting CJ Stroud versus the Cowboys this week. Nico Collins looks set to return, and the Cowboys remain pretty banged up in the secondary. And my long shot start for the week is Jameis Winston. The Saints are getting healthier, but they no longer have Marshawn Lattimore. We know that Winston is going to be slinging the football in this one. There are definitely worse options than Winston this week. This week I'm sitting Tua Tagovailoa. He gets a solid matchup on paper, but the Raiders are getting healthier in the secondary, and Tyreek Hill is banged up right now. This should be a close game that the Dolphins can grind out, but it might be an ugly one. This week I'm also sitting Matthew Stafford. The Patriots are playing good defense in recent weeks, and they could be getting a couple of starters back as well. I think there's better options than Stafford in week 11. And I'm also sitting Kirk Cousins. The Broncos are playing really good football overall, and I expect them to continue to do so this week. The Falcons should still be able to move the ball in this game, but I wouldn't expect monster numbers from Cousins.
Okay, here is your starts and sits for week 11 at the running back position. First, Kyren Williams, LA Rams. After 2 minute games, he should have a huge bounce back game as the Patriots are bottom 10 against the run. Next, we have Kenneth Walker, Seattle Seahawks. They're coming off a bye week. He's rested, he should be healthier, and he should be in for a huge game against San Francisco. Then we have J.K. Dobbins of the Chargers. All right, I get it. He hasn't been the best lately, but I think against this team, the Bengals, they're going to look to try to make it a grinded out game because the Chargers just do not have the offensive firepower to keep up with the Bengals. For your long shot, Jalen Warren, Pittsburgh Steelers. He's someone that's been coming on and he's been getting more and more fancy points for you. So look for him as the weather's getting colder just to do better and better and be the player you hoped he would be to start the season. Your sit, Alvin Kamara. Same thing for last week. It's just there's not much else talent. They should key in on him, and Cleveland has been top five against the run. Then we're seeing Jonathan Taylor of the Colts. With Richardson back at quarterback, they're going to dare him to pass the ball and just stack the box, which also will hurt Taylor. Finally, Brees Hall, New York Jets. He's underperformed in 5 of his last 7 games, and the Jets' offense is just a mess. Big part of it is their O line, and unfortunately, I look for him to underdeliver again.
For the Week 11 waiver wire wide receiver start sits, we're starting Khalil Shakur of the Bills. They're taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. I know this might seem a little strange going up against the Kansas City Chiefs defense, but as we've said before, the Chiefs are giving up the most fantasy points to players in the slot position. And hey, 3/4 of Shakir's yards come from the slot position. We're also going to start Nico Collins of the Houston Texans at the Dallas Cowboys. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. We were a little disappointed because we thought he was going to play last week, but hey, he's back. He'll return to his normal production. And hey, they're going up against the circus in Dallas, so let's see. Nico Collins, he's going to put up points this week, first game back. I'm telling you. We're also going to start Cortland Sutton of the Denver Broncos taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Week 10, the guy had 9 targets, turned out 70 yards and a touchdown. Listen, his last 3 games, he's had minimum 70 yards and 30 total targets over those 3 games. My long shot of the week is coming. New England Patriots, Demario Douglas. Yeah, you might have thought I was going to say Boot, but however you pronounce his name. But no, we're going with Demario Douglas, New England Patriots against the Rams. He's had 14 targets over his last 2 games. And hey, with Drake May getting a little more comfortable, maybe some more of those shots will go downfield, and Demario Douglas can turn those into more fantasy points. So he's my long shot of the week. Sitting Rashad Bateman of the Ravens, going up against the Steelers. Listen, he's seeing less than 5 targets per game. The Steelers' pass rush is insane. They're going to have Jackson running all over the place. We could get lucky and Bateman could sneak out and catch a long touchdown, but I'm just not seeing a lot of production from him this week. Also sitting Michael Pittman of the Indianapolis Colts. They are going to the New York Jets. He's coming back as a wide receiver one. I get it. But Anthony Richardson is their quarterback. And let's face it, it just ain't there, at least not this season. Who knows? Maybe he'll figure it out and turn around, but for now, we're sitting him. We're also sitting Drake London of the Atlanta Falcons at the Denver Broncos. The good is, London came back last week and he looked good after sustaining a hip injury the week prior. The bad, it's the Denver defense. They are definitely a top 3 defense. Possibly the top dogs. I know the Steelers are up there, but hey, the defense means business, so we're staying away from Drake London this week.
Hey guys, here are some tight ends to start and sit in fantasy football for Week 11. Starting off, I like playing David Njoku against the Saints this week. Njoku has seen high volume over his past 4 starts with at least 7 targets in each of those games. He is the Browns' top receiving threat and has developed chemistry with Jameis Winston, so I'd like him to have a good game this week. Next up, I'm starting Tucker Kraft against the Bears. The Bears have surrendered double-digit PPR points to opposing tight ends over the past 4 weeks, and Kraft is a favorite target of Jordan Love. I think we can expect 6 to 7 targets for Kraft, and he should convert that into 4 or 5 catches for over 50 yards receiving. I'm also starting Hunter Henry against the Rams. Drake May has improved every week and looks like the real deal at quarterback for the Patriots. Henry is the Patriots' leading receiver and has ran the most routes of any player on the team this year. The Rams are a bottom 5 team at stopping opposing tight ends, so the recipe is there for Henry to have a big game. And finally, my long shot for the week is Jonnu Smith. Smith is still only 39% owned in Yahoo leagues, and he gets to face the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday. Smith is averaging around 6 targets per game over his last 5 starts, so if you need a tight end to use as a bye-week fill-in, Smith might be your guy. Moving on to our sits for this week, I am keeping Mike Gesicki on my bench. T. Higgins may make his return this week, and that will mean less targets for the tight end. He also is facing the tough Chargers defense, so it could be a long day for Gesicki on Sunday. I'm also sitting Jake Ferguson in Week 11. Ferguson is currently questionable with an illness, and if he is ready to go, he has to face the Texans defense, which has given up the least amount of fantasy points to opposing tight ends this season. Combine that with the fact that Cooper Rush will be Dallas' starter this week, and I think it has the makings of a potential disaster for Ferguson. Lastly, I'm sitting Kyle Pitts against a tough Denver defense this week. Pitts has not cracked 6 targets in over 3 weeks, and I fear that the lack of volume combined with Denver's ability to control time of possession and play good defense could be factors working against Pitts in this one. Here are some defenses to start and sit this week in fantasy football. I really like Detroit's matchup against Jacksonville this week, and that's because Mac Jones is going to suit up as the Jaguars' starting quarterback once again. Last week, Jones was a disaster, throwing a couple of bad interceptions and losing a fumble. He holds the ball too long and does not look confident at all out there. Fantasy managers should be smelling blood in this one, and the Lions have a chance to put up a monster game. Next up, I like starting the Dolphins defense against the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are arguably the worst offense in the league, and the Dolphins looked very good defensively against the Rams last week. I expect their success to continue in this one. Lastly, I'm playing the Vikings against the Titans this week for similar reasons. The Titans have no real weapons outside of Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard, and with Will Levis running the offense for the Titans, there are definitely opportunities for some turnovers. Moving on to our defenses that we're going to sit for this week, I like sitting the Saints against the Browns. The Saints are a popular streaming defense as the Browns have not had success on offense this season, but with all of their players healthy and the team coming off of a bye week, I think the Browns may find some more Jameis magic in this one and put up a decent showing. I'm also sitting the Bears this week against the Packers. The Packers have an elite offense that are coming off their bye week. They're fully healthy at receiver, and the Bears will be without their starting safety. I love the Bears' defense in real life, but not for this week's matchup. And finally, we are sitting Buffalo against Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes always plays his best games against Buffalo. The offense is improving with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, and the Chiefs know that this is one of their toughest tests on the way to an undefeated season, so I expect the Chiefs to bring their A game in a shootout.